I'm bored, said Amelia. Me too, said Marcus. Well, what is it you guys want to do? Asked Oscar. The three children did not often struggle to find things to do. Quite the opposite, actually, as they were known all around their town of Bankhead for coming up with all sorts of adventures. This town could use a playground, said Amelia. That way, we would have something to do between the times we are out exploring. A playground is a great idea, said Marcus. How about we build one, he suggested. But where would we put it, asked Amelia. Why don't we go out on a search? That sounds just like the kind of adventure we could use, said Oscar excitedly. There's lots of open space in the woods. Why don't we have a look for a good spot there, he said. The children agreed and started off to find a good clearing close to town where they could put their playground. Just as they were on the edge of Bankhead, they saw a bright yellow train pulling a bright yellow bulldozer. That looks like a brand new bulldozer, said Marcus. I heard the lumberjacks are needing it because they're having trouble getting their work done. Since their work is so hard, they decided that in order to do their jobs effectively, it was time to get a bulldozer to help them build a road into the forest, pull the trees they have chopped down out of the woods to ship to the lumber mill, and to clear the ground to get it ready for planting new trees. The ground needs to be cleaned up and cleared in order for new trees to grow properly. Well, I hope we can find a clear spot for our playground, said Oscar. And before those lumberjacks plant new trees in our perfect spot, he joked. The children continued to search the nearby woods, as they didn't want to put their playground too far away from town where nobody will want to go and play there. Look over there, said Amelia. That spot looks just right for a playground. I don't know, questioned Marcus. There's a lot of big rocks and fallen tree branches. And over there, that old tree looks very shaky and like it might fall down at any given moment, he said. I don't want a tree falling on my head when I'm trying to have fun. And look at this great big hole, said Oscar. I wouldn't want to fall down there, he exclaimed. It might be a bad idea to build a playground here, he said. What if we got some tools and tried clearing it up, asked Amelia. This would be a perfect spot if we just put in a good effort to fix it, she said. The children agreed to give it a try. They went home to gather up some tools. Oscar found a rake. Amelia got a shovel. And Marcus borrowed a wheelbarrow. They returned with their tools to their spot in the woods and got to work. This is really hard, said Oscar, and these tree branches are way too big for me to rake up. Ugh, and these rocks are too big and too heavy for me to lift into my wheelbarrow and cart them away, said Marcus dejectedly. And how am I supposed to fill this giant hole with dirt using just my shovel, said Amelia. It will take me forever to fill this hole. It looks like our hard work isn't going to pay off this time, said Marcus. We just don't have the right tools. It looks like we won't get our playground as we had hoped. The children left the forest disappointed about how they would not be able to make their playground even though they had put in all of that hard work. On their way back home, and just as they passed the junkyard, they saw their old friends, Tony and Andy. Of course, Tony's dog was there too. Andy had come over to see Tony, hoping that he would have some extra cans of paint so he could put a fresh coat of paint on his old fence. What are the three of you up to today? Asked Tony. Another great adventure? We tried clearing a spot in the woods so we could build a playground, said Amelia. We even used a rake, a shovel, and a wheelbarrow, she said. But it was no use. We couldn't move the fallen trees or large boulders, said Marcus. And we couldn't fill a giant hole with enough dirt, said Oscar in a disappointed tone. It sounds like you don't have the right tools for the job, said Andy. Maybe you could use some help, he asked. We sure could, said Oscar. We tried our best, but it just didn't work out. Do you have any ideas, he asked. I sure do, said Andy. But how about I make it a surprise? Meet me back here first thing tomorrow morning, and we will see what we can do about getting that space all cleaned up for your playground. That sounds great, but it's impossible. I have no idea what anyone could do to get that spot cleaned up, stated Marcus. Aha, said Andy. You'll have to wait and see. Meet me here by the gas station tomorrow. I will see you then. The children couldn't wait. What idea did Andy have, they wondered. How could he possibly get such a mess cleared up enough for their playground? The next morning, they rushed down to the gas station, just like they had agreed to do with Andy. Just as they were getting close to the gas station, they heard a loud and clanky sound getting closer. That's Andy and Gus, shouted Amelia. And their new bulldozer, exclaimed Oscar. Sure enough, it was Andy and Gus, clanking along the road with their new bulldozer. We had to bring the bulldozer into the gas station for an oil change and a fill-up, said Andy. So what would you say if afterwards we take a run at clearing that playground with the bulldozer, he asked. Now that should be the right tool for the job, said Marcus excitedly. You three head over to the clearing and come up with your plan. We will be there before you know it, said Andy. The children hurried to the spot where they wanted to make their playground. They put their heads together and came up with a plan for what needed to be cleared and how they wanted to design their playground. Just as they finished their plan, they heard the unmistakable clanking of the bulldozer approaching. Where should we start? Asked Andy. The children showed Andy the plan. Well, let's get to it, he said. Andy and Gus worked together to get everything done that needed to be done by the bulldozer. They pulled away old branches and cleared tree stumps. They moved large boulders into a ring around the edge of the playground. They filled the big hole with dirt and packed it down tight. In no time at all, the spot was cleared and safe, all ready for the new playground to be built. But when we came, we were here all day and couldn't get anything done, said Amelia. Your bulldozer made it look easy. Well, it looks like the bulldozer was the right tool for this job, said Andy. You can get just about anything done by having the right people, using the right tools, in the right way, he said. The children couldn't agree more. This was a lesson that would last them a lifetime. Over the next few weeks, with a lot of work and help from the townspeople, the park began to transform into a beautiful space, with colorful flowers, trimmed bushes, and clean pathways. The grand opening of the park became a joyous celebration for the entire community, and a place filled with memory for the three children that worked hard to turn their dreams into reality. It took a lot of big tools to complete the Canadian Pacific Railway, from horses to cranes, from steam shovels to bulldozers. There were a lot of obstacles for these tools to overcome. The spiral tunnels were built in 1909 to replace the most difficult and steep section of the railway called the Big Hill. The Connaught Tunnel is a tunnel that is more than 5 miles long, cut through the base of Mount Macdonald. And the Lethbridge Viaduct is more than a mile long and spans the Old Man River. Whew, it looks like building the railroad took a lot of hard work. Maybe building a playground wouldn't be so bad after all.